We asked recruitment experts what are some of their most preferred candidate hiring sources. Here's what they have to say.
I've tried a number of them. Being in tech,
it's probably no surprise. LinkedIn is going to always be the gold standard, I think, right? In our industry.
Referrals are a really good one. And adverts, getting your name out there, getting your constant adverts, even though you might not get many responses, what you are putting is you're marketing yourself. And there's something amazing about sort of individuals seeing you in various different places, of which they'll then send a CV direct to you, or when you contact them, they recognise your name because they've seen you out within your marketplace. So for me, actually, it's a combination of your sources is the ideal mechanism. So all of those has been very, very good for us. But your top one, I would say, is always got to be the database, but it does depend on the markets that you sit in. That's what I will say. Sometimes adverts work really well in certain markets. So it is market led.
In addition to just asking your network. I had one position that was a really tough position, and I kept putting out there to our company, like, hey, we have this position. And it was a really tough role to fill. And I was having a conversation at lunch, and somebody was like, wait a minute, I know somebody that does that. And it ended up being such a great connection. They're employed by us. They're an awesome add to our family. And so just asking people has been really easy. I say this and I hate to say it, but it always boils down to who you know, not what you know. And so being able to reach out to your network and having close communication with those people has been really helpful.
If I look at the different tools that I use, it could be LinkedIn, our internal database, using even the job boards, as I mentioned before, and also getting referrals. If I break down kind of how I utilize those, for LinkedIn, standard, obviously you drop a message to someone, whether it's through your normal LinkedIn or LinkedIn Recruiter, or using LinkedIn to find people that are connected to people and trying to entice them there. I actually, when I join a business or when people join our business, I should say, I connect with everyone and I look at their connections and I try and entice people that they're connected to join the company I'm working at as well. In terms of the database, what's always useful is to re-engage with people that have applied to us in the last 6 to 12 months, even beyond that, to see where they're at in their career. Do you remember interviewing here? You had a great experience. Would you look again? And then referrals wise, who do people know? Good people know good people. So if they do want to refer someone to the business they enjoy working for, then that's a really easy kind of source for us.
Certainly, I'm familiar with GitHub, and I am familiar with Indeed and LinkedIn and Dice and some others. But in my experience, hands down, for me, in the approaches that I use, LinkedIn is far and above the best one.
Referrals are key. So it's really important that with the candidates that you have, you're also asking them for good referrals. The candidates that you place, you still maintain contact with them. It's not like, done, you're hired, see you later. So referrals are really, really effective. So networking with your candidates, networking with your current employees if you're on the corporate side, and asking, who do you know? A strong referral network is very helpful to hiring, and good people tend to know other good people. For harder to fill roles, if there's anybody in that role right now or the hiring manager, ask them, where do they hang out? What are some areas? Are they more on Twitter? Are there certain podcasts that they listen to? All of those, just to kind of go at it a little bit more creatively, because there are some very difficult niche roles out there and that take a little bit more digging, right? You also have people on LinkedIn that don't want to be found. So sometimes you got to get a little creative.
It varies on the type of job you're recruiting for. I still believe, and a lot of people don't believe it, but I still believe a very well-written advert is a key way. You'll get a lot of applications that are not right, and that's part of the job, but you will get one or two who fit the bill. And that well-written advert can potentially fill the role that you're looking to fill. So I'd say that's a key one, but also using your ATS, CRM, whatever system that might be, and really kind of delving back into that to kind of see the people you've spoken to before. You know if they've performed well or badly in an interview. You've got feedback on them already, and you know if they're quick at responding or what their situation is and what they're looking for. So I think that's something that I think is a really well kind of utilized tool if you use it properly.
I mean, post and pray sometimes is still good, right? Like, you're still posting jobs, you're still able to find candidates. But when those candidates aren't coming through, I would say LinkedIn has been my best resource.
As we know, LinkedIn is an absolutely fantastic piece of data, a data mine in itself. So using LinkedIn with its optimum sort of through its workflows and contact management.
LinkedIn goes without saying. I think it seems to be probably the top of everyone's list for both posting jobs and for searching for people and networking with people on there. And I think with LinkedIn, I tend to have quite a bit of success with the going out and headhunting for candidates, regardless of what the role might be. But I think the mistake that some people make with that is they don't properly read people's profiles, and they go and approach people and they get the feedback that I'm no good for this, they get no response. But if you tailor it and you actually view the profiles, take a little bit longer. It's a bit of a longer process, but you take that time to look at the profile, tell them why they're right for the role, and get them to kind of come back to you. It's a really good tool for that if you do it the right way. But I think there are some people that don't do it the right way, which gives some recruiters a bad name. But if you do that and you go to people with things that are actually of interest to them and have that conversation with them, I think it's a really effective tool.
I would say LinkedIn, I should just qualify that by saying LinkedIn Recruiter. My company, has granted me a license for that. So that's definitely number one for me, hands down, not even a close second. However, I have sought out people, in non-tech capacities. And I try to think outside the box where I could go to find talent there. And one of a very fruitful source that I found was veterans organizations. There's a lot of veterans who are transitioning out of the active military, who are trying to go into the private sector, who have got a lot of good experience. Some of them are relatively green, but that they're disciplined, generally speaking, and they're good apples, and they come off, pretty good and respectful in interviews. So I have joined some veteran organizations on LinkedIn, and they'll have like virtual work fairs and things like that. So that's a very plentiful source, and they're very, very loyal too. If you help some of them, a lot more will be referred your way from those veteran organizations. But LinkedIn would be my number one.
If I talk about kind of the space that I feel works best for me, I love using video platform technology. So, your tools where you can make a video introduction and send it to someone. And I use that quite a bit combined with LinkedIn. So when I message candidates, I'll make a video and it will be tailored to that person and their experience, and then sell the opportunity that I have open, and then I'll message that person. Because it's a different approach to just having to look at a generic message or email that comes through.
There's a lot of different groups that you can join to be a part of that are free. And so just posting it out there, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn groups that you have, or groups within like the SHRM community, things like that, just posting, talking about that there has been a great resource as well.